Welcome producers to the fifth and last training, and in today's training what I'm going to be teaching you is the second secret that I used in order to scale my business from where it was at around $3,700 a month and scale it past $5,000, all while doing the same or less amount of work. And so this is going to blow your mind, and I think that whenever I figured this out, that it just made me realize I had been working the wrong way for so many years, and this changed everything around for me, and it allowed me to do 4 to 6 hours of work a day and make $5,000 a month or $1,000 a week. And so that's what I'm going to show you guys in this video today. Second secret that I want to show you is that communication leads to cash, and that people pay for proximity. And so those are two sayings just to help you guys understand this a little bit better and get it to click a little bit better. And so what I want to talk about first is that communication leads to cash. And so what I mean by that is that depending on the medium you use for communication, that is going to determine how easy it is for you to sell your product. And so let's talk about what is the worst way to communicate with somebody. And so that's probably by, just posting a piece of content. It's probably by sending out an email blast or something like that. That's the worst way to communicate with an individual because it's not really directed at them or anything like that. They can see it, they cannot. If you scroll past a reel or something like that, it's not really communicating that much because there's so many other distractions around you. And so that would be the worst form of communication. So now let's think about what would be the best form of communication. And so the best way to communicate with somebody is obviously in person, face to face with them. But since we are internet marketers, since we have internet online businesses, the best way to communicate with somebody, second to talking in person, is going to be through a video call one-on-one. And so if you're doing something like that, that's going to allow you to communicate so thoroughly and effectively with the artist that it's going to, allow you to sell your product for a higher price. It's going to allow you to communicate the value of your product, answer any questions in real time, close the sale over the phone, and collect the payment. And so it does all of those things, and it cuts out so many bad negative things like following up with artists, number one. And it also cuts out the ability of being ghosted. And so a lot of times we will send a text off, we'll go and send an Instagram DM, and then the artist says, I'll get back with you Friday, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'm interested. But then they don't get back with us because they have the ability to ghost us and cut off communication at any time, which puts them in the power position and it puts us down here somewhere, right? And so that's what I want to talk about today. So if you're trying to increase the level of communication that you have with the artist, start with this. The first thing you can do, if you're already sending one-on-one DMs with the artist, the second thing that you can do is start with a voice note. And so if you start with a voice message, then you're going to be able to communicate more effectively. You're using your voice. That's how human beings communicate. I'm communicating with my hands, but I also am communicating much more with my voice, even more than just writing. And so this is because there is a loss of communication at all levels. So if I say something to you and you don't understand the word I'm using, then there's a loss of communication. The same way, if I text something to somebody and I use an exclamation mark, they either think I'm excited, but maybe they think I'm angry at them. They think I'm mad at them for something, or maybe they think I'm being sarcastic. And so there's a bigger loss of communication. So if you want to avoid that, try using voice messages. That's going to increase the amount of communication you have with somebody and decrease the loss of communication. The next step would be a phone call, because now it's two-way communication. Real-time two-way communication is going to be through a phone call, because you can pass them some information, they can pass it back, and you can clarify. You're like, is that what you're meaning? And they say, no, I actually meant this. Now you can clarify in real time. And so it's a better way to communicate. And then you can step it up a notch and then go to a video call. So now they can see you face to face and they can relate to you a lot better, and there's a lot more communication happening. So once you've figured out how to communicate with the artist effectively, you may be like, hey, what do I say to actually get the sale? How do I close sales? And so I sell my beats for $1,000. I sell my beats for $500, $750, $1,000, in that range. And if they want more than one, then they're going to pay more than that. So the way that I sell these is because I am focused more on their payoff than I am telling them about my process. And so a lot of people get caught up in the pieces and the process, and they forget about talking about what the artist payoff actually is. And so what do I mean by payoff? What I mean by payoff is, what do they actually get out of it? More so than just saying you get this many beats, you get these features and these bonuses from me. Instead of saying that, you want to talk about how it's going to pay off for them. What kind of emotions are they going to feel when they actually work with you? And so what is the main payoff for an artist? The main payoff is having music out that they're proud of putting out there. They want to write more powerful lyrics to it. And so if you go and set their emotional state in a way to where they are basically perceiving that it's going to be a positive experience, then it's going to allow you to sell more beats, first off, but it also allows them to have a better overall experience. So when it comes to selling, what you want to do is you want to persuade somebody to buy something from you. And so I'll touch very briefly on this. You want to persuade somebody to buy from you. You don't want to convince them. And so the difference between persuasion and convincing is that persuasion, or let's start with convincing first. Convincing somebody means you're trying to get them to take an action that you want them to take for your reasons. So you want them to buy beats from you so that you get money. But if you are trying to persuade them, then you're trying to convince them to take an action that you want them to take for their reasons. And so that changes everything around, because now you want them to take it for their benefit. And so now you're focusing on their payoff instead. And so you're like, well, if they move forward, that's something that they actually want to do. And if it is, then you don't have to plant a seed there. The seed's already been planted. And so that's the key to getting sales. And so if you know how to implement this, if you know how to work it, then you're going to get sales from this. And so that's something that I wanted to teach you about today. So I hope that blew your mind as much as it blew my mind when I discovered this principle, and I immediately made $3,000 in a month doing this, and I only had 3 clients. So think about the amount of work that I was doing before to get 50 beat sales. And then whenever I learned this secret, I was able to get the same amount of sales with just 3 people. So if you understand the secret, it's going to launch your business. It's going to allow you to find success more easily, because if you learn the skill, if you master it, then you'll be able to go and execute it effortlessly. And so that's what mastery means. It's the ability to execute effortlessly without the use of conscious resources. And so if you get to that point, you're not even thinking about it. So when I get on a sales call, I don't have to think about how do I sell them. I already know the process, but I can move through it very quickly without even thinking about it, because I've mastered sales calls. I've done hundreds of them. And so once you get to that point, I promise you, it is so much easier to do it this way and to just communicate with the artist. Use your voice to communicate instead of just typing. And there's no loss of communication, and you're able to execute it effortlessly and get them to pay you money and be happy that they did it. And so that's just the crazy thing about this. So if you want to learn how to have mastery over sales, if you want to learn how to communicate and turn that communication into cash and do it very, very quickly, then what I want to propose to you is that you should get one-on-one coaching from me if you are primed and ready for this. And so what I mean for this, I really mean this in the best way possible. I'm not trying to help everybody out here. I'm not trying to help every producer out. I'm trying to help 5 producers per month to start on their way to getting $3,000+ per month. And so if that's you, then fine. If it's not, then this is not for you. I mean, if you just turned 18 and you're just trying things out and you don't have any audience and you don't know the first thing about selling beats, this might not be for you. But if you are a little bit seasoned, you've gone through a few different things and you figured out like, hey, this is not working for me. Like I don't want to spend hours a day trying to make YouTube type beats and post on the channel and get 50 views per video. If that's where you're at right now and you're like, hey, I'm sick and tired of not seeing results, I want to live off of my music, I want to do whatever it takes in order to be successful at this, then what I would propose to you is that you schedule a strategy call with me. You apply for coaching. I have 5 slots available. And if you want one-on-one coaching, if you want somebody that's going to help you accelerate your sales, like with Teaser, you think about the exponent of $200 to $4,000 plus per month. So if you think about how many times over that is, that's a 40x improvement on sales, or 20x improvement on sales. And so if you can go from where you're at, if you're less than 1,000, if you're at like 200 per month, let me show you the skill to where you can possibly get $4,000, $5,000 per months. So like Manik, he was making $800 a month when I met him, but off of sales from sending DMs, he was making zero. So we literally took him from $0 off of sending DMs to $3,000 a month. And that was over the course of a month and a half, maybe about 45 days. So 45 to 60 days, if you could turn things around and start to get exponentially more sales into your business without doing more work, then that's what I want to propose to you. So make sure you apply for coaching. And so I promise you, if you are the sixth producer in line, you say, hey, I want to work this month, I want to lock in, I want you to help me to scale my business, I won't be able to do it. I'm only doing 5 producers per month. So if you want to be one of those 5 producers, then go and hit the application button. It'll take you 2 minutes. Fill out a couple of questions, and then if everything looks good, it will give you the ability to schedule a call with me. We'll sit down and we'll develop a strategy that's going to help you to scale your business. And if you're a serious producer and I feel like I can help you, then I am going to offer you coaching, and we'll see if we can figure out a way through that process. So, and I promise you, if you make this decision, it could be the best decision you ever made. And so for the people that have already done coaching with me, I've already helped producers make over $100,000. And so if you think about that, the opportunity cost of not knowing how to make $4,000, $5,000 a month, that's $48,000 to $60,000 a year that you could be missing out on because you're not pulling the trigger on this. And so if you were simply to pay me, let's say it costs $10,000 to work with me, which it doesn't cost $10,000, but if it costs you $10,000 and you knew you would make $60,000 the next year, would you take that bet? Because that's a 500% increase on your money. And so you might say yes. So you would go and try to find as much as you could put down. You would do a payment plan. You do what you need to do in order to get that information, in order to get that process. And so if you want one-on-one attention from me to help you scale your business like I've helped over 15 producers to do, then definitely book the call with me. So if it's not for you, it's not for you. You can pass up on this, but I promise you, you're missing out on something that can change your life. So hopefully this training was super helpful for you guys. And if you're interested in coaching, book that call, and I will see you guys on the strategy call.